Thanks again for joining us this afternoon. We'll get into the introductions real shortly, but we wanted to make the point and spread the word about the use of spreadsheets and why people should stop using them to run their business. We're going to show some examples based on the DELMIAWorks ERP solution from SOLIDWORKS and Dassault Systems, and some of the reasons for some of the troubles or perils that you can experience if you're running your business on spreadsheets. So flip to the next slide, Rob. Okay, Rob, you want to do a quick introduction?
So my name is Rob Hauser. I'm a system architect here at Javelin Technologies. I take care of anything to do with networks, data, intellectual property, and the DELMIAWorks ERP is one of my main core applications that I deal with. And I bring lots of experience, down on the floor, in the front office, all that fun stuff with processes and such.
All right, awesome. And my name is John Mignardi. I've been with Javelin for 20 years, was in manufacturing for 15 years prior to that. So I spent pretty much my whole career out of school in the manufacturing industry, and worked with about 600 companies over that time, over the last 20 years. And it kind of prompted this discussion because we run into people using spreadsheets and data to make decisions, and we just wanted to show the difference between working with that type of format as opposed to DELMIAWorks. So flip. Okay, great. So DELMIAWorks is one of the new products within the SOLIDWORKS suite of products. Javelin is a SOLIDWORKS-based business, have been for 22 plus years, and we are promoting all these different applications. And within the past year, as I mentioned, DELMIAWorks was purchased by SOLIDWORKS Dassault Systems. The software used to be called IQMS, but is now called DELMIAWorks, and is part of the manage column of products within the SOLIDWORKS suite of products. Those are some of the partner applications that we sell as well. So I wanted to add some context about the topic that we're talking about today. And because we're working with a lot of manufacturing companies, we wanted to make the point that there's a lot of moving parts, and from order processing to shipping products out the door and getting paid for them, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of systems, there's a lot of equipment and processes that need to work properly so that the system works efficiently and your company is profitable. Flip. So when we talk about using spreadsheets, we've seen and we believe that and experience that spreadsheets to run your business can be dangerous and wasteful. And when you put data into spreadsheets, you're essentially ensuring that you're working with bad or old data, not necessarily bad, but old data, and it might not be a full picture. I've used spreadsheets since the 80s or 90s, and it was great technology then. But when you're looking at a company that has a lot of different departments that have to talk to each other, you may be missing out on your machinery talking to you rather than people putting numbers into a spreadsheet. So you've got some information you can go by. And it takes time and effort from multiple departments, which is could be good or bad. Spreadsheets are great. Like I said, I've been using them since the Windows IBM XT, the first versions of IBM personal computers, which is a long time ago. They're a good general purpose tool, but they do take time to create. And there are obviously tips and techniques to automate certain tasks, but they do take time. And they are only a snapshot, and they can include inputs from multiple sources. So if you're in a company where you have a specific spreadsheet and you have to have input from multiple people, it kind of gets tricky, right? Everyone's got their own version of it. Everyone can make their own edit to update their own portion of it. So, revision control becomes a bit of an issue. Further, there are times when you need input from multiple sources. So if you're creating a spreadsheet for your own department, your own role, but you're not including data from other people, other sources, you might not be showing the whole situation, and might not have the full picture and not enough data to make decisions. The spreadsheets need to be controlled and protected, and once they're distributed, they're out of date. These days, people need information in real time. And so in a business, you have to, there's a lot of people making a lot of decisions. So for example, I just highlight a few of them that we're going to touch on today. So if you're a salesperson and you want to make a sale, or you're putting together a quote for somebody, you have to know, or should have a good idea, when you could promise a delivery. So in the worst case, I call it, you could have someone having to go to the production manager to say, okay, when can you run these jobs? Or you might have to go to HR, who's qualified to work on these jobs. You got to go to purchasing. Do we have the materials to run this job? So there's a lot of factors that come into making a decision, even to create a simple quote and promise of delivery for a customer. Further, accounts receivable, they have to know what product has been shipped so they could start invoicing it. A lot of our customers work off phased shipments, and if they are not being invoiced properly, then you're going to have issues with cash flow. Production needs to know about material shortages, and sooner rather than later. Imagine setting up a machine, planning to run a job, but you don't have the material, and now you got to strip that down and run something else. And with purchasing, you need to know what needs to be produced and when. So the other thing is, some people prefer graphics, some people prefer numbers. So we want to show how life is with different options. And these days, lead times are razor thin. Production volumes tend a lot of times to be shorter or smaller, and profit margins are razor thin as well. So you need to have precise data to make the right decisions. So I wanted to show this graphic, and I'm trying to go as fast as I can. Wanted to show this graphic to show a lot of the different modules within the DELMIA product line. Now we have other videos that we can share with you, other information to show you this in a different format, but wanted to show you that there's a lot of connectivity between one module and another. And if you see the way this is broken down by CRM, ERP, MES, sorry for all the acronyms, but it kind of gives you an idea of how connected all these modules are to one another. And so I basically just took a yellow marker and identified, okay, who performing these roles is likely to create a spreadsheet. And, I just circled a few of them, but I'm sure there are others where spreadsheets could apply. So flip. Okay, do you want to take this one, Rob?
Yeah, so what DELMIAWorks offers is end-to-end manufacturing. We can take everything from order processing, scheduling, production, and shipping. And now that Dassault SolidWorks has purchased the IQMS and rebranded as DELMIAWorks, you can take right into that junction between order processing and scheduling, and you can add engineering into that. Because we have a direct interface from SolidWorks right into DELMIAWorks, so that those bills of manufacture from the engineering side can be grabbed. They can be moved directly into the bill of manufacture, which is where we add all of the production requirements onto it. And that could be done without having to, flip things over to spreadsheets and have somebody manipulate the spreadsheet and then go and load the spreadsheet in. It's a direct interface right out of SolidWorks right into it. So again, another way of reducing those spreadsheets and that manipulation time in order to get that bill of material turned into a bill of manufacture. So as you can see, when we start taking a look at how we track all of these things, the dollars, whether we're looking for the financial side, or we're looking for the material side, but how do we track these then in real time? And that was one of the things John was making a point of, that we get stale dated information a lot of the times when we're dealing with spreadsheets. It's not connected. And that's something that we really need to be cognizant of these days, is the fact that when we're looking at dealing with data, we need real-time data. Let me just check. John, can you see the DELMIAWorks logo on there for the software?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, good. All right, just want to make sure we got that through on the meeting. So what we have the ability to do with the system is jump in and see all sorts of different areas of what we're looking at. So if we want to go ahead and take a look at a sales order, we get to go ahead and select one. When the orders are brought in, we have three main sections, and this is the key area down on the bottom. The top end is just a header of the order. It gives all the, who's buying it, where it's going. These are the order details, and depending what we select on the details, this is the shipping information and the production information. And this is the key area where people usually would create a spreadsheet, because they're going to go and take a look and see what it is they're trying to sell, which is coming off of an incoming order form or a purchase order from a customer. However, that then needs to get translated to data down on the shop floor. And chances are there's going to be a operations supervisor, production supervisor, a lead hand that's either going to have a big whiteboard put out on their office wall, or they're going to have a spreadsheet that only they know really what it means and how to get into it. And if they're not around, maybe there's somebody that has a close idea, but it's probably not ideal. Down here, we get some key things. We get a color code that tells us what the status is. So we can see here that none of these items have been shipped yet. They're all in the purple color code. And the nice thing is we have a requested date and we have a promise date, and that is key. So a lot of times people don't refer to the promise date as exactly that. And this is something that we have to be cognizant of. We have promised the customer a PO. We need to be able to show that to them, and we need to be able to split these orders up. So even if I don't have the inventory required to go ahead and make something, so if we go ahead and take a look at that order there and we jump into this, we can go ahead and we can see exactly, update a sales price without having to go to a separate spreadsheet. We can go ahead and jump right into the inventory, and without having to go again to other spreadsheets, it's going to go ahead and pull up the inventory for that item, and it's going to show me that I sell it in multiple items. I don't have a lead time on it, but I know exactly up in the right-hand corner how many I'm going to be required. I know right away that that has to pop out again to the purchasing department, and that's going to be on a open orders list automatically. It's not going to be a separate spreadsheet. It's not going to have to be communicated via an email to somebody else. We know right away how much is required and what we need to do. But we have some other tools available to us as well. So we have dashboards available. So these dashboards are live. So here we're looking at a finance one. How nice would it be to know that AR has a requirement? There's $18 million due to come in. American Express balance is $6 million, and we've got an accounts payable total of $1.4 million. These dashboards can be set up very easily. And again, some people would say, well, yes, I can set a spreadsheet up, but the numbers are live. When we go ahead and set these dashboards up, we have all this information available to us. So if I want to take a look at the manufacturing side, and let's say I want to take a look at tooling dollars earned, which is always a good one, I can see where I spent so much on some tooling, and here's what the cost of it was. Here's how much revenue I actually made with the tooling. Over on this one, I can see I didn't make as much revenue as what the tooling cost me. I'm barely breaking even on that. And on this one, it's the same thing. We've got a definite cost of where we're sitting on doing something. To do that in a spreadsheet would be very, very time consuming by the time we collected all the data. And again, it's a small snapshot in time of when that's actually valid. If we take a look at things like sales charts, again, we have all this information that's live. And as the sales orders move in, depending on the months, if we zoom into those, that data changes. Here we have overdue sales orders. Obviously, they're all in red. This one's actually right on the cusp of being taken care of, but we can see these are all the overdue ones. This is where we're standing right now on the orders that are coming in from different areas. We can go and slice and dice these things in any way that we see fit. One of the greatest ones that we have is when we take a look at the equipment and ordering metrics, but the real-time work center side of things is very cool. Actually, if I pull the right one up, there we go. The work order on the efficiency side of things. Again, this is live. We're seeing downtime by equipment. We're seeing where all the details in. If I want to discuss this in a boardroom, I can go and pull that piece of the pie out with a click to make sure that everybody's focused on the right area. These different numbers, as they go ahead and the machines move and cycle, I'm not sure if my server is running them fast enough right now, but these needles will move on these fuel gauge type increments as production goes ahead and increases. We'll see all these numbers go ahead and update as things move. But it's very, very cool to go ahead and see how things are actually running on the system. So let's go and see in real time. I got some server errors again today. That's cool. Must be my network issues. So we can see again with these fuel gauges, very easy. We can see our scrap numbers are down quite well. We can see the machine utilization. We're a little running under, so there's something going on. We'd probably need to drill in and find out what's happening with those particular areas. But again, very easy to go ahead and pull all of our information up as we see fit. The nice thing is that when we're looking at all of these pieces of details, we can precisely see what's happening on everything. So when we're running on how all this performance works, we do have multiple tools available to us. So we can see things such as the machines themselves. What are they actually running on the shop floor? How are things working in real time? The color codes go and show us, how things are working. So these machines in red are running a little slow right now. The machines in green are running in a standard production cycle. If we had anything in black, right now it's showing us that it's running faster. And faster is not necessarily good. It can be very hard on machine tooling, especially on presses and machine tools and stamping and things like that, because we slam things together too hard, too fast. We tend to break tools. So we don't really want them running too fast. The other thing is we can show when work centers are down. So this whole particular blow molding section is down right now, and it's probably going and doing some tooling changeover. You can actually dive into those and you'd be able to see if any of that is actually, and we just saw it update right there, you'd actually be able to see if there's an open work order for some machine maintenance happening on that. But all in all, we have things that we can take a look at and where are we standing on a day-to-day basis. If we're looking at the quality side of things, we go ahead and drive in. Again, nobody has to create spreadsheets. It's the data that's producing off of the system, and away we go.
Yeah, as Rob mentioned, with our technology, you can literally have your machinery talking to you. We can count the number of parts that are made for a given cycle of an injection mold machine, for example, and you can see that real time impacting all the numbers. If you're in a situation where you've got multiple production plants within your company, and we know of one company that has a central facility that has a bunch of monitors mounted in a war room, and they've got a view of all the different what's running in production and what's late, what's on time, what machine is down for maintenance or down for repairs, that sort of thing. So the whole point of this presentation was that there are a lot of moving parts. You want to make sure that everybody is using real-time data, so you're able to make decisions, the right decisions, using information that's current and relevant to the decision that you're making. You don't want to bother a lot of people. You don't want to walk or run around the plant asking people for information. I think just the idea that you could be at cottage country, take a look at your cell phone, jump into DELMIAWorks and see how your plant is running, or whether if you're a sales guy, hey, when is this order going to be shipped, that sort of thing. Just having real-time data available to you and not having to run around gathering it all or waste time or spend time or waste time gathering it all and putting it into a spreadsheet that's going to be late as soon as you deliver it.
And if I can add, John, if you just take a look at this graphic here of all the different areas where the data is originated from, just think of all the people that need to intercommunicate that detail in as close to real time as possible to keep those spreadsheets up to date. The moment people put things into spreadsheets, it's stale at the moment they go ahead to publish it, because things have changed that fast these days in business. Depending on the speed of your manufacturing, things can change greatly as those machines cycle. Much easier to see that you're producing scrap and make sure that you direct the correct tooling people or maintenance staff to go ahead and take a look at something to find out why that scrap number is starting to climb up during the shift while you're producing it, rather than after the shift and you've already made 20 minutes worth of scrap. And now somebody's collecting some of these spreadsheets that are being done, or they're doing production dockets coming off of a clipboard down on the shop floor. That's working its way back to an office. Somebody's going ahead and entering that data, and only then can somebody make a decision on what's happening. So much better to be real time than it is by spreadsheet.
That's an excellent point, because you've got alerts that could tell you in real time, hey, you've made 4 scrap pieces in a row, type of thing. And you know, it's better to act on it right away than learn about it in the next morning's production meeting, and then try to resolve the problem when you've probably made much more scrap. So yeah, we want to keep this presentation short and simple. We've got other demos that we've presented, or can connect with you to show you a presentation of DELMIAWorks in greater detail. Sorry about that. And wanted to make the point that real-time and accurate data is needed to make money on the shop floor. In a company, that's where your money is made or lost. And you know, we're trying to make the point that data needs to be shared throughout your, you know, by each department, to make sure that, like I said, production knows what needs to be built and by when. You've got the ability to initiate corrective actions sooner rather than later. You can start invoicing for product that's been shipped and not have to wait for other pieces of acknowledgement. And more than anything, what we'd like to point out is that separate spreadsheets keep companies separated. And for companies that need to come together and share information rather than manage their way through silos of information, we are like to point out that DELMIAWorks solves that problem by giving you real time that people can share throughout the organization. Not a lot of time needed to put it together. All these dashboards are set up so that you launch the dashboard, you see the information, or the data that's presented gets presented in the format that you need it in. So that is basically the message that we had for today. Flip. Does anyone have any questions? Let me check to see if there's any questions that have come up so far. No, we got no questions. So it looks like, Rob, you and I have done a pretty good job of getting our message across. Thanks again. This was meant to be a very short presentation, and there's more information that's available if you wanted to connect with us to learn about some of the challenges that you're facing, and to show DELMIAWorks in a lot more depth, to show how it's an end-to-end solution in manufacturing, right from order processing, and before that in engineering and design, all the way out to shipping and everything else in between. So oops, looks like you've had.
We do have a question, yes. So there is a question, does DELMIAWorks cost extra? And yes, DELMIAWorks is an application. It's an ERP and manufacturing execution system on its own. So yes, there is a cost associated with it. And we can always discuss that for your particular needs. Most companies, if they're just running off the spreadsheets, may have never invested in an ERP. Perhaps they've done something like QuickBooks to take care of the finance side. Again, even with QuickBooks, that is considered to be an entry-level accounting type system. It does not usually have anything of a strong inventory or manufacturing scheduling area. And that's what we're now looking at once you get into the DELMIAWorks side of things, is an ERP and manufacturing execution system. So we can always have a deeper discussion on that and see what your needs would be. And I believe at that point, unless...
No, I was just going to say, sorry, Rob, I was on mute there for a bit. DELMIAWorks is a full business solution. So like Rob mentioned, people are using QuickBooks, they're using spreadsheets, they're using other systems within their business, other software systems. A lot of companies using custom developed software or other applications to generate and share data throughout an organization. But DELMIA is fully integrated. Yes, it's an extra cost, and it solves a bigger problem outside of typically what you would anticipate from a SOLIDWORKS solution, because with SOLIDWORKS you've got all the design and manufacturing tools, and this is more of a business system, how to help you manage and run your business. So that's a good question. Okay, so there's no other questions. Unless you have anything else, Rob, I want to thank everybody for joining us, and stay tuned for future presentations of DELMIAWorks. If you want to get a hold of us, I don't know, Rob, you want to go back to the original slide? We're going to share this as a video on YouTube, and but if you had needed some information specifically to talk about your requirements, feel free to get a hold of myself or Rob Hauser through connecting with Javelin. So unless there's anything else, thanks again, Rob. Thanks for your time, and we hope that you all have a great and safe rest of the day.